there, dreamers. Julia Gentry. And today we're going to be talking about what now? Have you ever asked that question? Right? You accomplish a goal, you check the thing off your to-do list, it's the end of the year, end of a decade, and you find yourself going, what now? Or maybe you're human and you've experienced 2020 mixed with 2021 and 2022, and we've gone on this roller coaster of emotions. 2020 totally catches us off guard, and it's a year that we will never forget. Then 2021, we think that we're going to kind of take a deep breath, and all of a sudden, if you're in certain industries, things light on fire and there's a ton of potential, and we're just reacting to the world around us and the growth and the changes, and we're just trying to keep up. And then here we are in 2022, shifting into 2023, and most of us are going, what now? What next? If that's you, I want to invite you into this conversation today, because that question would make you human, it wouldn't make you crazy, and I think it's really worth looking at and unpacking and answering, right? Tony Robbins says the quality of our questions determines the quality of our answers. And I think it's a question that we should probably dive into and find some answers. So we're going to do that today. Now, let's kind of back up for a minute and actually rehash and relive where we're coming from, right? Most of us in 2020, truly the rug gets pulled out from underneath us, right? Life as we know it has dramatically changed, and we're just trying to keep up with everything that's going on and trying to hold on for dear life, praying that we will find normal again, praying that it'll go back to normal, and praying that we will actually stay safe, secure, and stable through the whole thing. Then we walk into 2021 and into 2022, and we're kind of starting to hold on for dear life, right? Many of us in certain industries and sectors, and all of a sudden things take off at a rapid pace. We see interest rates go down, we see people moving, we see the markets changing, and all of a sudden people are now starting to buy and move and shift and all these things. And so we're seeing these huge shift of here, one year we're in our homes and hunkering down, and then the next year we're just doing all the things. And then here we are, the end of 2022, shifting into 2023, and I think it's safe to say that all of us are probably asking, what now? What next? Where are we going from here? Or if you are an avid goal setter or a New Year's resolutionist, you're starting to think about the list that you created for this year and the list that you need to create for next year. And what's really interesting to me as I consider this topic and thinking about what's now, what now and what's next, I'm kind of disheartened by the reality that more often than not, there's fewer people setting New Year's resolutions and goals than ever before. To the point that there is only 49% of people will set a New Year's resolution. Only 49. That means 51% of people aren't even going to touch the subject again. They're not even going to consider a vision. They're not even going to consider goals or dreams. 51%. And I'm talking to both sectors of people today. So if you're my goal setter, that 49%, I'm going to talk to you today. And if you're the 51% that's like, no, I'm not doing it. I've been disappointed. I've been let down. How in the world are we supposed to even guess what's going to happen? I don't even know what I want. I'm also talking to you today. But of that 49% that set a goal, did you know that by mid-February, 6 weeks after setting the goal, that only 9% will actually be on target to hit their goal? 9% of 49%. That's a really low number. And that is devastating to someone like me who is so much about the dreaming process and the vision and the idea of manifesting something from nothing. It's devastating to me. And I want to unpack that a little bit today, because I think that this next year, and I will say this live, I'm going to go public with it, I believe that 2023 is the year of dreams. I believe that this year is a year where heaven is petitioning us and asking us to lean in and to dream like we never have before. And the irony of this is that if you look around at current affairs, you would go, JG, I think that you're not really like up to speed with what's happening in the world or your country or your city. And that would be true, which is a good thing, that I'm not asking us for 2023 to build a world based upon reality. It's not what I said. I said we're actually going to build a world from revelation. We're going to build a world that has to do more with what's not happening than what is. That's the whole idea of dreaming. And in my book, I actually give a definition of dreaming. Here's what it is not. It is not a hopeful strategy that gets us nowhere. It is not a pie in the sky approach to life. It's not designed to make you feel good. It's not anything that it is. It's not anything that we think it is, right? Because again, most of the time what hurts us, thank you Mark Twain, is not what we know, it's what we think we know that just isn't so. After all my research, hundreds and thousands of hours of studying this topic and leaning in and talking with people from all across the country with all sorts of different stories and backgrounds, here's what dreaming is. It's great and intense focus with deep absorption of thought in a different realm that brings about possibilities while considering the needs of those around you. It's being a creator. It's not being creative, it's being a creator, which means the ability to bring something into reality that was never there before. It's the ability to take nothing and to build something. It's the ability to not see it with your physical eyes, but to believe it at such a deep level that it's just a matter of time before what I see in here becomes reality out there, which is why it is the year of the dream. That's what it is. So if you're sitting there going, what now, what next? Here's what's now, and here's what's next. Dreaming. It's dreaming. It's the ability to not need the world around me to tell me what God has already put on the inside of me and prepared me and given me the tools and the resources and everything that I need to bring it about. The in-between is not up to me. It's going to take some oomph and push-ups and strategy and techniques and all the things, but the in-between is going to be an act of faith, right? We love the story of Peter, and here's Peter who's in a boat and Jesus is on water, and he calls Peter to come walk to him on water. There's two parts to this story that we overlook. Number one, Peter got out of the boat. That's on Peter. He didn't have to get out of the boat, but in faith, he got out of the boat in his own strength, in his own power, in his own ownership, in his own responsibility. He got out of the boat. Most of us forget to do that. We've got to get out of the boat. We have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to take a step. We have to do more than we think that we can do. That's on us. But then we notice that then he starts to walk on water. That's on God. That part is up to him. So there's 50-50. Some of us who are not getting out of the boat, but we see Jesus and we're like, that's awesome. Jesus is walking on water and he'll get me out of the boat. No, he won't. God's not going to get you out of the boat. God's not going to get you up and going. God's not going to force you to do another push-up. God's not going to force you to write the book. God's not going to force you to start the business. God's not going to do that part for you. That's on you. Get out of the boat. Then there's some of us who get out of the boat and we start walking on water, and then we become like Peter and we start to sink. Why? Because we forget that the walking on water, the miracle, is giving space to what is possible and what God can do in and through us. Most of us are pretty good at recognizing that we're strong and we're going to get out of the boat, but we're really underwhelmed by our results. Why? Because we're not actually getting out of the way and surrendering to Jesus and walking on water and positioning ourselves to do the impossible, not because we know what we're doing, but because we know the God who does know what he's doing. And so this year of dreaming is going to be about our ability to do our part and get out of the boat, and then to position ourselves to let God do his part so we can walk on water and actually see miracles happen. Not in our way, not in our will, not in our time, but to trust that it will because he will and he is faithful. It's the year of dreaming. It's the year that we're actually going to create space to go, okay, here's what my reality says. Here's what my marriage currently says. Here's what my finances currently say. Here's what my community says. Here's what the government is saying. Here's what any sector you feel compelled to see some change. You're going to first look at what reality says. Then we're going to put that over here because that's part of the equation. Let's take inventory of what's going on, what we have currently. But then I'm actually going to ask that you strategically in the next couple of weeks take time, put it on your calendar, schedule the opportunity to dreamstorm is what we're going to call it, not brainstorm, dreamstorm. What does that mean? You're actually going to sit down and you're going to create space to go, what do I see that could actually be possible here? I'd call it impossible from this moment, but it might just be possible if I wanted it enough, if I believed for it enough, if I walked by faith enough, and if I trusted God enough. What could be possible here in my faith, in my marriage, in my finances, in my career, my relationships? What could be possible here? Because this year is the year of dreaming. And if I can see it, and if I can create space, and if I can dive into what's potentially possible, and it starts to light my soul on fire because it's the desires of my heart, and it's the desires of heaven, and it's something that won't go away, and it's been knocking on my door, and I want it so bad, then 2023 is going to be the year that we go, prove it. And live your life like it depends on it. That's why I say, dream as though your life depends on it. Why? Because it does. And then as we tackle this from a spiritual level, I was going to the book of Isaiah earlier this week, and it was such a call to arms for me. And if we look back in Isaiah, what Isaiah is doing is he's prophesying over what's to come. It's a prophetic declaration, and I believe that it is for such a time as this that we're hearing this again. And it's found in Isaiah 43. I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit, but Isaiah 43 says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, and you are mine." Already, right out of this year, I want you to recognize that you're going to have to fear not. Not because those things aren't happening, but because you're simply willing to put your eyes on Jesus. Why? Because I have called you by name, and you are mine. Look at me, God is saying. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. What does that mean? As you go through the valleys, as you go through the hard, as you go through obstacles, as things happen that disappoint you and frustrate you and anger you, I will be with you. He never promises that those things won't happen. He simply promises that he will be with us. Well, but why would God allow those things to happen? Because God is in charge, but he's not in control. He won't control the world. He won't control the government. He won't control your neighbor. He's not controlling things. So he can't control everything to happen exactly as you or I want it to. But what he can do is say, but I am in charge, and I will be with you through it all, for I am the Lord your God. If you go on to verse 4, he says, "Because you are precious in my eyes and honored, and I love you, I give men in return for you, people in exchange for your life. Fear not, for I am with you." What is he saying? Because I love you, and I'm honored by you, and I am with you, I will do the impossible. That's what he's saying. I give men in return for you, peoples in exchange. I'm actually going to take the enemies and the hard things, and I'm going to shift this thing for you as you walk through the water and the fire. Here's where it gets really good. If you fast forward to verse 18. So if you actually go from 5 to 17, he's walking us through this prophetic idea of even in the midst of all of these things, I am with you. I am God. I love you. I will redeem you. I have called you by name. So this is what I'm going to say to us today. Even as you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will be with you. So fear not. Keep your eyes on me. This is where he gets tactical. In verse 18, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Do not look back. Don't look at what was. Don't look at 2019. Don't just consider your dope body when you're 20 years old, or the first year of marriage when everything is perfect, or when you had all the money or all the answers when you were 16. And don't look back. Actually, don't even look back at the pain and the hurt. He says, remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I am doing a new thing. It springs forth. Do you not perceive it? What does that mean? It's there. It's never that God is not there. It's never that God is not speaking. It's never that God is not moving. My question is, do you see it? Well, no, Julia, I don't see it with my physical eyes. That's not what it's saying. He's saying, do you perceive it? It's basically saying, do you know it? Do you feel it? Are you moved by it at a much deeper level? This is the definition of dreaming, the ability to go so deep, connect with heaven and yourself and God at such a deep level that you actually see what's in plain sight. Faith eyes is what I call it. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. This is what dreaming is all about as we head into a new year. It's the ability to create the space, to surrender to what was, to take a deep breath, to make space, and to actually say, it is part of my role and my responsibility as a child of God and a mirror image of who He is to bring something to this world that is not seen with physical eyes. It is the year of dreaming. Side note, fear not, for I redeem. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, waters, rivers, fire. That's going to happen this year. Hard, obstacles, disappointment, fear, worry, doubt, markets changing, interest rates up, inflation, all the things. I will be with you. I will save you. I will redeem you. I am doing a new thing. Here's our call to arms, my friend. It's to arise and to stand in the identity of being a dreamer, of being a creator on this side of heaven and doing our part to get in alignment with what heaven is doing and to bring it to this earth, regardless of what you see. And the only way we're going to do this is if you create some space to go, okay, God, what do I want to see here in my faith, my family, my career, my community? What's possible? What if I close my eyes and imagine a world where everyone created uninhibitedly, where everybody lived free, where everybody was bringing heaven to earth, where everybody was manifesting His kingdom on this side? What would be possible here in this area? And you're going to hold space until you get clear on that answer. When you start to write that down, you would start to donate your time. You would start to lean into your book. You would quit your job and start the business. You would move. Whatever that is, you're going to write these things down and you're going to hold fast in 2023. You're going to hold fast. I would encourage you to do two things. Links below. I would encourage you to join one of three things. Our Facebook group, Dream Together, to join the conversation and to be committed to doing this year. Join our text message community, which you can actually text Dream Now, all capital letters, to 22999. Or 3, join my mastermind group. This is an investment into making your dreams a reality this year, not because they just feel good, but because the world needs them. And God is doing a new thing. Can you see it? So what's now? What's next? Well, that's up to you. I encourage you to dream. I encourage you to join me in this year as we unapologetically and relentlessly chase every dream that God's put on the inside of us, because it is a part of our responsibility. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And in fact, it's really simple, stupid, hard. But as I always say, pick your hard. It's going to be hard to succumb to the fear. It's going to be hard to succumb to the worry. It's going to be hard to wish that it looked like yesterday. And it's also going to be hard to dream. It's going to be hard to chase the things that are important to you. It's going to be hard to walk by faith. Pick your heart. So join me. In the comments below, say I'm in, give me a fist bump, drop an emoji flame, share this video, spread the word that 2023 is the year of the dream. Because we can do hard things. Until next time, dream on.